Enhancing civic education in primary and secondary schools, ensuring free language courses to favor a better integration of children with marginalized backgrounds. When children come to school, it is important to focus on what they already have and what they don't have. If they don't have the language skills, if they don't have the values, it is important that the school provide those to all students, because without language, especially since most of our education, quality education, happens in the English language, it is important to make sure that students have those English language skills, or we must work and develop our national, our Urdu language skills in the classroom as well. Ensure an adequate student-teacher ratio. In other words, you can't have one teacher with 60 students. That's not an adequate ratio. If we want quality education, our student-teacher ratio will have to be lower than what it currently is today in most of our classrooms. Promote the development of affordable hardware and software to allow wider access to ICT. Computers and technology are playing a major role today in education. Without those facilities, quality education cannot be guaranteed to all our students. And if we are to guarantee quality education to our students, companies, individuals will have to step forward, create the hardware and software at affordable costs so that our students are able to afford that and benefit from it. As we see technology as a fundamental provider of education in the future years, times are changing. Lots of Muslim countries like Malaysia and Jordan have already gone paperless and wireless and all that wonderful stuff. Why should we be lagging behind, especially if we guarantee our students quality education? Promote awareness and understanding of the sustainable development topic through education, which would encourage the societal change in behavior and create a more sustainable future. If we want our students to be progressing and promoting themselves and their lives in the future in a positive, sustainable manner, we will have to teach them those skills today. If we don't teach them those skills today, and these are skills of cooperation, tolerance, working together, negotiating, compromising, and we will be looking at a lot of these skills as the course progresses further. Particularly in the areas of environmental integrity, economic viability, and just society for present and future generations. If you look at it, these young children in our classrooms today are going to inherit from us environmental problems and issues that they have had no role in creating. All the air pollution, water pollution, noise pollution, and all that, these students have not had a role in creating it. We've created it. But if they want to be successful, and we would hope that they will be successful, they will have to be aware of these environmental issues and how to overcome them. They will need to remedy those environmental issues for them to lead a decent, sustainable life in the future. So what is free and accessible education all about? It is about welcoming diversity. If every human being, if every student in a classroom was the same, classroom life would be boring. Classroom life is exciting and interesting because the students are different. So we will have to welcome the diversity in our classrooms, benefiting all learners, not only targeting the excluded. If all children come in from different backgrounds in a classroom, then all children will be learning. We are not only targeting the dropouts or the children who don't make it. Once the child is in a classroom, that child deserves good quality education. Children in school who may feel excluded, even in classrooms, there will always be a child or two who feels left out for whatever reason. And so how do we make sure that that child is part of the group, is part of that existing classroom? Providing equal access to education or making certain provisions for certain categories of children without excluding them. In other words, no matter what kind of child you are, equal access to education, to all education, which means languages, mathematics, science, so that you then have a variety to choose from and decide what you want to do with your own life. Reforms of selected students or community. When we select certain students, everybody is not a debater and everybody will not be an impromptu speaker. But when we find these qualities in students, we need to develop those. So how do we select students for those kinds of tasks? Responding only to diversity. In other words, you are not looking for similarities, you're looking for differences. Only when you're looking for differences will you be able to respond to diversity in a positive way. Meeting the needs of children with learning disabilities only. Children have learning disabilities, and once we figure out that this child is learning disabled, how do you help that child? Just because the child has an attention deficit or is hyperactive in the classroom does not mean he needs to be sent out of the classroom. And finally, meeting one child's need at the expense of another child. You don't focus on one child and ignore the rest of the group. You need to focus on the entire group. You cannot sacrifice the need of one child for the need of the other children in the classroom.